It is Tuesday, October 28th. Brand new polling numbers out today showing who Americans blame for the government shutdown. And it's not the grand old party. We'll show you. Democrats feeling the pressure after multiple labor unions calling out Chuck Schumer by name, siding with Republicans, including the largest workers' union in the country, which we highlighted yesterday. SNAP benefits, food stamps, now running out. And who receives these benefits? Is it majority Americans or is it immigrants? Wait till you see this. It may surprise you, and more stories as well from around the country.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit.
So Democrat leadership continuing to march in lockstep, refusing to budge on funding the government and ending this shutdown, even as more than 40 million people on the verge now of losing their federal food aid. Yes, SNAP benefits are not going to be distributed on November 1st because the government shut down. The funds haven't been distributed by Congress. There are now very real concerns that we may see food riots, carnage in the streets as millions of people are cut off from their welfare benefits. Everyone appearing to come together on this. Everyone's concerned except for Democrat leaders. Why is that? We may have an idea. For example, multiple labor unions, including the largest labor union in the country yesterday, siding with Republicans, blaming Senate Democrats for the shutdown. Mainstream media even getting on board, trying to pressure Democrat leaders to finally fund the government. This needs to happen now, realizing that food stamp benefits, EBT cards, welfare cannot be allowed to just expire, cannot just be allowed to run out. Left-wing media pressuring Democrats, telling them, you realize what's about to happen, right? Yet still Schumer refusing to budge, claiming he's hearing from his own constituents that he should keep going, that every day he says his polling's getting better. Well, today, this morning, brand new polling showing that Schumer's assertion that every day gets better for us is total BS. CNN's data reporter breaking down the numbers, showing it's Republicans who have improved their poll numbers greatly during the shutdown, while Democrats are in the worst position that they've been in decades. Watch.
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye out on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, would you say, in Congress?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harriet, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Will polling numbers make a difference? It may, because the whole reason Schumer's doing this is due to his awful polling numbers. And when you think about it, when you look at who the shutdown hurts, it hurts Democrats. Majority Democrat voters are the ones being hurt. The largest union in the country, AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees, they're not getting paid, folks. And thousands of them are being laid off. Last year, AFGE made 100% of its political donations to Democrats. 0 went to Republicans. This is the union who just blasted Chuck Schumer and sided with Republicans. Watch.
Hearing from this union, as you said, Everett Kelly, you called him a good leader, hearing them effectively side with Republicans and the president, does that have an impact on you?
Of course it does. I felt strongly for this union. Everett's a friend and is doing a good job. But we also feel strongly for these families and the possibility that other Republican actions are going to be closing hospitals and clinics and nursing homes across this country. This is a crisis situation. We should resolve it as quickly as possible.
It does not change the strategy that Democrats have employed so far when it comes to this shutdown, stare down.
No, as a matter of fact, I think we can resolve this matter as soon as the president's willing to sit down with Republican leaders and Democratic leaders.
And what about the people who are losing their SNAP benefits? 41 million people, 41 million about to be cut off. Who are they? Well, a lot of them, some estimates put it at the majority of them, of food stamp recipients are actually immigrants, people not even from this country. 45% of Afghani immigrants are on food stamps, 42% of Somalis, 34% of Iraqis, 23% of Haitians in this country receive SNAP benefits, something mainstream media refuses to talk about. Well, last night, Rob Finnerty from Newsmax did a deep dive into this. Look what he found.
There are 42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps, 42% of Somali immigrants, 34% of every immigrant from Iraq, 23% of Haitians, 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans. Think about that. And we didn't know about any of this before the government shutdown started, but thanks to Democrats, we can confirm tonight that millions of Joe Biden illegal aliens, people who crossed the border when Joe was president, are now collecting food stamps from a program funded by hardworking American taxpayers.
Meanwhile, the Americans who do receive food stamps are pissed. A lot of them very, very upset about this. We reported yesterday how Democrat senators are aware what will happen once those EBT cards stop working, how it will cause carnage in the streets. People on Capitol Hill are talking about this. They're aware of it. It's already happening. There are thousands of these videos showing up on social media of people stealing their food now, encouraging everyone else to just start stealing food. Yes, since the government shut down, since the government's not providing for us, they say, what else can we do but steal our food? We need someone to provide for us, to take care of us. Really? And you know who these people vote for, right?
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. So they wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay. They wanted $9 for this. I said, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for this. They wanted, sorry, it's all fucked up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today. These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay. Let me show you the most important thing to me. Short ribs. Take off the label so that you don't beep. Get your fucking meat. How many do you think that I got? How many short ribs is that? And can I be real? More of y'all bitch ass niggas should have started taking shit from the motherfucking corporations a long time ago. Y'all just didn't have that shit in your motherfucking bones. Get out there and get in the motherfucking field like I told you. Everything out here is yours. Whether or not you take it, they call that shit free will. I call that shit eminent domain. You know what I'm saying? One thing I learned from the white men, take it! Hey now! Take it! I don't give a fuck who's already sitting there. I don't give a fuck if your land was already established. It's mine now and I want it.
So you can sit back and you can mock, you can laugh, and you can think that you're about to starve us to death. But I'm here to let you know that we are going to eat regardless, even if we have to hunt you animals down and roast and eat you. The delectable crackers and cheese. We will make it happen if we have to. Trust and believe me. And if it takes this government shutdown for black people to finally come from under the government and understand that we don't need to be paying our taxes into this government, what we really need to be doing is taking care of one another, buying land and growing our own food and building our own nation. If this government shutdown and starvation is what it's going to take, then let the party begin.
And again, senators know this is happening. They're hoping it will gain them leverage in this negotiation, using their voters' pain and misery to try to put pressure on Republicans, which won't work, by the way. Trump is not bending on this. There is zero chance he's going to agree to reverse the $1.5 trillion in cuts to U.S. aid, reverse all the work that DOJ did this year. It's not happening. And everyone knows it. Even CNN confronting Democrats now about this. All of this happening while corporations begin mass layoffs. UPS terminating over 12,000 office jobs and 20,000 blue-collar jobs as well. Nike announcing 2,000 layoffs. Starbucks announcing layoffs. Amazon cutting 30,000 corporate jobs. That's 10% of its corporate employees. And there's more. Other large corporations, Rivian, Charter Communications, GM, Morgan Stanley, Nestle just laid off 16,000 people. All of this happening right before the holidays. This is supposed to be the period where people make more money, where these companies normally hire more people to handle the influx in sales and customers for the holiday season. Again, when people normally make more money, not this year, we have millions of unemployed young people in this country. And what happens when you have millions of young people, especially young men? You get revolution. Is the Dem Party doing this purposely? Do they want revolution? We reported yesterday how Democrats on the Hill are aware of all of this. They are talking about it. They're talking about what's going to happen when these food stamps run out, the amount of leverage it will give them. They want these SNAP benefits to stop, folks. They know what will happen in the streets, and they want it anyways. They want the leverage. They need the leverage. Why, you ask? Well, when you have Democrats getting the pants beat off of them politically, Trump now set to win the midterms handsomely based on recent estimates. When you look at all the redistricting fights around the country, when analysts sum it all up, they believe after all of that, Republicans will end up coming out on top big time, even with Prop 50 in California. So if you were the Dem Party, what's your only chance? Revolution. Bring on the revolution.